Hello, people. I actually think that this very nature of making this video ties into what I want to talk about, because this is something that is easy to do. I mean, all it takes literally is for me to go to the little camera icon on my computer and then press play, provided I've got space. So this is one of the easiest technology-related things I can do. I've spoken before about some of my frustrations with the digital world, but I wouldn't call myself a technophobe. I mean, I don't think a true technophobe can run a YouTube channel, for example. So I'm not a technophobe, but by the same token, I'm definitely not as savvy as some people are. Um, I must admit, I find the modern world a bit frustrating at times, the contemporary world, with the sheer amount that we rely on digital technology. And I do think that it's worth looking at this a little bit because I do feel that there's a sort of peer pressure dimension to it. Let me explain what I mean by that. Um, right now, I've got a new smartphone. I haven't managed to do much with it because all the phone shops are closed at the moment, and I really want someone in the know to guide me through setting up a contract or something. I really think that's something that I have to do directly in a shop as opposed to trying to do it online. It's a nice used phone. It's a Android. It's a new phone. I like the color. And it was a present from a close friend. And I'm still kind of maneuvering around it because for years I've been using this little thing, which is extremely basic. It does its basic job, which is phone calls and text messages. Um, but really, it's technically it's a smartphone, but it's a very, very basic one. So any sort of apps I do have, I never utilize because it's slow or it's, you know, just not worth it. Um, but I find so much nowadays, so many jobs, so many companies, so many government departments, well, every government department, pretty much you cannot escape the world of digital technology. And I understand why it's used because sometimes it can make things quicker. I mean, I guess in the old days, everything would have been done by file. And if there was human error, that probably would have made things more complicated. So I suppose we shouldn't overlook how in the past, you know, things could be bureaucratic as well in a different way. But here's the problem I have. If you are trying to work with technology and it's letting you down, and you're following the guidelines and you find that you're going in circles, it can be immensely stressful because you feel you're kind of at the mercy of a machine, to put it bluntly. I mean, that maybe sounds like hyperbole or overly dramatic, but I'll give an example. I'm trying to get a DBS check because some of the jobs that I'm looking at require it. I have a criminal record check, but it's not the same thing and it's out of date. So I need a new one. So I'm trying to navigate through the government website. Now, I find it's just one piece of bureaucracy after another, and I understand the reason for it, but it's still frustrating. So, in order to get a DBS check through the government website, like DirectGov or gov.org, um, you need to go through something called Verify. You may be familiar with this if you've used it. Now, to get Verify, you then have to go through either the post office or another site. I'm trying to go through the post office, um, and this requires a lot of things like do you have a valid passport? Do you have your national insurance number? That sort of thing. And I've got a lot of that. I don't have a driving license because I don't drive. Can I download apps on my phone? Well, my old phone, no. My new phone, yes. I think I can. So, I'm quite proud of myself. I managed to do that. Lo and behold, when it comes to actually scanning things, it just crashes or it doesn't work. So I find that going through all this, I'm just going to have to start again tomorrow. Presumably it saved what I've already done. It says log out and save work or leave off from here or something. But I don't know that'll be the case. So I just find that it's, one gets so tired of passwords and more passwords and email verifications and I could put up with it if it wasn't for the fact you're relying on this stuff. And if it doesn't work, personally I do find it a little bit stressful because I feel that if I'm trying to go against some deadline or something and I'm finding that the technology is just leading me in circles, it's very frustrating. But I don't like how there's kind of this pressure. I remember when I worked in China, everyone had really up-to-date smartphones and they could all download WeChat, which is a Chinese social networking service. I had QQ, which is kind of an older one, but everyone was using that, and I must admit I felt a bit, isolated from that. I didn't let it bother me, but when it came to just download this, download that, and I just couldn't on my phone, I did feel a bit isolated. So I do feel with digital technology, there's a sort of, to some extent, peer pressure aspect to it, or at least, everything has to be the most updated or the most. I find it a bit overwhelming at times. Frankly, I think too much today is online. I know literally because of the pandemic, it has to be. But even before the pandemic, it was, you know, just download the latest app. And what frustrates me is it's made out to be so easy, like everyone could do it. Um, I could just about do it, but I'm thinking of people who maybe I'm not the most technically savvy person. I'm thinking, what about someone who, really is at the bottom base of this, really elementary? They must find it immensely stressful and overwhelming. If I find it stressful and I'm sort of somewhere in the middle, or maybe just below the middle, I can imagine how stressful they would find it. So I do really believe strongly that we need to be a little bit careful about not letting technology run absolutely everything, digital technology. The amount of time we spend on social media is well documented, and I plead guilty. I spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I'm trying to tone that down a bit. But I really think it's healthy. After you've watched this video, give it a go. Just go for a walk. It's your exercise, so if you live in the UK, that's permitted. It's not going against the rules. Go for a walk. Don't bring your phone. Just go for a walk, get fresh air. Um, Read a book. I suppose I even technically cheat with that because I have a CD player and I play music as I'm reading. But I really think it's healthy sometimes just to get away from digital technology, really, because we do use it so much these days. We need to get back down to earth in some ways. And I don't mean that as a pun with, SpaceX and Elon Musk's space projects and all that, and the Perseverance program on Mars. It's all exciting, but I don't want to live in a world where technology takes over so much that the world's no longer recognizable, that everything is digitalized. I mean, are we going to be in a future situation where we consume little pills that are digitalized and not food? That sounds absurd, but I do think we need to be a little bit wary of the extent to which this can go. And it kind of annoys me that people, a lot of people, particularly in the digital sector or with who are really positive about this stuff, they think that's kind of an archaic, reactionary thing. I don't think it is because I see the benefits of this. I'm not totally negative. I see good stuff from digital technology. I do. I use it. I would be a hypocrite if I was totally negative because I use this stuff. But all I'm saying is, put it this way, it's a very sad thing if you go to a party. Again, this is in normal times outside the pandemic. You go to a party and half the guests are looking at their phones. I think that's very sad. So maybe I am a little bit old-fashioned in that sense. That's just how I feel. By all means, let's use technology. Let's get the best from it. But let's not rely on it to such an extent that it replaces basic humanity and basic earthly things, for want of a better term. So go for a walk, read a book, um, just do things that don't always involve technology. And it's hard because we're so reliant on it. But I think that's healthy. I really do. And I'm going to try for my own part. Let me know your thoughts.